So I decided to finally put off my strange obsession or desire to get into the hobby of wargaming, and I thought it would be a great idea to start out with a franchise that I'm already super familiar with and passionate about, Lord of the Rings. This is a Lord of the Rings miniature war game produced by Games Workshop. But this is their Mines of Moria starter set that they came out with so many years ago. I was a kid when they came out with this. But as you can see, I made some progress when I was younger, but I was young, I didn't really know what I was doing, so there's a lot of pieces in here that are just primed or not very well painted. I am now feeling that this is the year that I'm going to get into wargaming. This might be the year that this is definitely the year I get into miniatures. This might be the year that I get into wargaming. We'll see. And we're going to start with this. So to help me with this project, I brought White Lotus Logan in to help me paint these minis. He has some experience with painting minis where I have very little, and that was a really good balance to strike between the two of us, where I was kind of taking some of my color theory and art classes, background into trying to paint these minis, where he was just like, yeah, I've done this before, so here, let me shoot these couple ideas at you and we'll see what jives, and that was really fun. We spent about a good 2 to 3 hours just kind of messing with things. You'll see here throughout the video that I kind of get up here and there. We got some crap brushes. I also got a bunch of materials from my local game store that just has a bunch of paints. I got some new primers, a bunch of new brushes. I kind of went in on this investment just to see if I would actually enjoy it, and to be frankly honest, I really did. And it's probably something that I'm going to be getting more into as time progresses, because I really want to start using minis in my campaigns and in my tabletops in general, just because I really like having the visuals there. So we basically started our night doing some touch-ups on the models that I had already primed and painted in my earlier years. Gosh, I don't even remember when I got this myself. But basically touching up on the paint jobs that we had there and trying to expand upon them. Logan and I attacked them, starting with the Fellowship of the Ring, just because those were the main characters that we definitely cared about. Gimli had already gotten a lot of color scheme put on him, as did Gandalf. And I had tried with Aragorn and I had tried with Legolas, but I hadn't really gotten very far. So the two of us kind of tag teamed that, and then he went so far as to explore with the hobbits a little bit. Here in the midst of all this, I'm still trying to figure out whether or not I'm going to be hitting any of the detail work, or if I'm just going to be doing broad strokes. I pretty much settle on doing the broad stroke color schemes. And by broad strokes, I mean like base coats and base colors and stuff like that. Like, I'll do Boromir's base coat here in a little bit. I'll do Legolas's base coat here in a little bit. And that's more or less what I stick to. A couple times I get up from the table to go prime some other minis, because I do have a battalion of Warg Riders that I do want to have some... I do want to use these at some point. I do want to paint these at some point. They're super cool. I also want to... I go ahead and prime the troll that I have, and I also end up repriming basically all of the goblins, because the goblins had, a base coat of black, but then we weren't mixing colors when we originally painted these, which is not necessarily a big no-no, but that's definitely a rookie move. So I went out into my garage and base coat sprayed them, which was super fun. The whole garage smelled like aerosol for a while. For my first official experience of actually attempting to paint minis, I did run into my own challenges just because of the way that my eyes work and the way that I am not the most skilled with a brush, but tag teaming it with White Lotus Logan was a whole lot of fun, and I definitely want to do this again and try this out again. Here are just some of the highlights from the build. We have Gandalf the Grey. We have Aragorn, or I guess it's Strider. This mini is actually Strider instead of Aragorn himself. Then we have Boromir. I do believe this one is Pippin. I'm almost positive this one is Pippin. Then we have Gimli, son of Glóin. Honestly, one of the cooler looking ones in my opinion. Next we have Legolas. Just trying to keep it in line with the movie it looks like here with this color scheme. And then this one actually is just a goblin that Logan came up with. This goblin is actually a mock-up of the design that we want to use on the remaining goblins when we get around to actually painting them. But these right here were the highlights from the entire experience. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us on this short Lotus life of us experimenting with painting minis. I'm pretty sure we're going to get back to this. It was a lot of fun, and with the drive that we have to put minis into our games, into a couple of other things that we're planning on doing, I think this was a good experience to at least start with. I know most of those minis weren't finished, but that is as far as we were able to get in the time that we allowed it ourselves. We're going to be doing this again here soon. Might do it on a stream, might do just another Lotus Life or another update about it. Who really knows? But that's something that we are looking towards doing here in the near future. Again, thanks so much for hanging out with us. If I could bother you to hit all the buttons that everyone else bugs you about, I would greatly appreciate all of the support that you can. And if you feel like supporting the channel and supporting this content, we do have a Patreon, which you can find the link in the description. I've been Arden XIII. I am still waiting on that ramen. Thanks so much again for hanging out with me, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.